here today at the Ibni Coorg and we have somebody with us, Dr. Raghavendra, whose fourth visit this is. So Dr. Raghavendra, tell us a little bit about your love for Ibni and what brings you back every single time.
Okay, so I've been coming to Ibni almost every year. It's almost like a pilgrimage for me.
Okay.
The first time I came here, it was with some friends. We came here on a bike ride. So it was a friend's decision to book this newly opened resort. It took me by surprise. The first time I came here, I had no plans of visiting Madikeri. I was actually planning to visit Chikmagalur. It was an unexpected twist that brought me here. But ever since I visited this place, it's almost like I've been attached to this place. And almost every year, roughly around this time, probably around August, September, October time, I feel that the nature is calling me back every time. So I'm pretty much attracted and I love everything about this place. Firstly, congratulations to the team Ibni on acquiring the Platinum certificate in IGBC Council. That's a huge feat in itself. I do understand, coming from a real estate background, how difficult it is to get these kind of recognitions, awards and prestigious spaces. And it is, if I'm not wrong, it is the first resort in India to get IGBC Platinum certificate. I know a lot of builders who refuse to take all the risks or the things to get the Platinum certificate. People settle for a gold or a silver sometimes, thinking we'll get it up in the next 5 years or 10 years. But Ibni, within the 5 years of starting the resort, they've got this, which is a huge feat in itself. And coming to me, what brings me here again and again, the reasons are far too many. Probably I can only tell you what I can recollect right now. One is this place is totally unexplored. It's not fully commercialized yet. So it's not a place where all the tourists are flocking or everyone is coming and crowded all the time. It's almost, I can say, a very unexplored and a virgin location. Not many have ventured into this kind of territory and this space. And the hospitality, the weather, the coffee estate, the beautiful coffee estate, the well-maintained and untouched part of this estate is what brings me again and again. And considering that I've visited more than 100 resorts in the last 10 years, I usually do not go back to the places that I visit. So Ibni is the only place I've been visiting again and again. And there's a lot of sense of power and energy in the place as well. So it's not just about the arrangements or the attention to detail or the hospitality. The place in itself speaks for itself. So there's a lot of energy that makes you feel very grounded, close to nature, opens up your head, relieves your stress. Okay, and you eventually end up finding a lot of answers to the questions that were there hanging in the back barrel of the head for a pretty long time, at least for me and a lot of people who have come here with me. This time, being the fourth, it's a solo journey for me, because this time I'm the one in trouble and I'm the one seeking answers. Not from God or not from the environment or anyone, it's from deep inside. It's a spiritual journey for me. And this place has really helped. I'm staying here in the last 3 days, and I can surely say that it has helped. Coming here has helped. I've been working for the last 135 days non-stop ever since the coronavirus started spreading in Karnataka. And this is my first vacation, and I badly wanted this break. And the moment I got my break, Ibni was the place I could think of. And also to tell you about a few technical things, the air quality index, the water purity index also is very good in this part of Karnataka, particularly more so in Madikeri. And in Madikeri, I would say this place is almost as pure as it can get. The air quality index is what I check every time I go to a tourist destination. In fact, I can easily compare the air quality and water purity to the Western Ghats. Earlier we used to compare it to the Himalayas, but now that again being vastly explored and very much a commercial destination for everyone, now the air quality or water quality is no more parameter for judgment. And also this place, I think it's a niche place where you do not attract too much crowd. You do not market yourself so aggressively to fill up your rooms or to get more tourists here, so that you can maintain that unique identity, unique distinction between many of the resorts there. If you check the resorts in Madikeri or around Coast, you'll find hundreds of lot of resorts, lot of five-star hotels, lot of luxury cascades, homestays, plenty of properties. But to stand out among them and provide immaculate facilities and remain so close to nature, and also gives me a sense of pride that my carbon footprint here is almost zero, because I don't see any plastic being utilized here, and I don't see any kind of unnatural or manufactured material here. And one of the best things I started enjoying in this trip is, you see, my room is about 750 meters away from the restaurant. So every time if I feel hungry, I have to walk all the way to the restaurant. So it's about 750 meters to and another 750 meters to. It's about 1,500 meters, so 1.5 kilometer walk for my breakfast, 1.5 kilometer for the lunch, 1.5 kilometer for the dinner, and a half kilometer walk to the coffee shop in the evening. So that covers up nearly 5 kilometers. So on my podometer, it's almost, you can see that it is 8,200 steps just for the meals and coffee. So which pretty much itself is a very good exercise. So it's propelling me to exercise, it's propelling me to walk, take a walk deep into nature, and the walks are not boring at all. If I happen to recollect one experience last time, one of the customers, one of the guests here was complaining that they wanted food to be delivered to their room. They didn't want to walk this far. You cannot force me to walk, or you arrange a buggy every time I come here. So what I would say to those customers is, please understand that this is an eco-sensitive region, and to preserve the region as it is, and also an idea of blending it to nature also requires us to come out of our comfort zones, come out of our bedrooms, come out of our luxuries, get wet in the rain, get drenched, and soak in the sun, get bitten by a few insects, watch the trees, let the leaves fall on you. And every time I walk here, even though I told you to and fro I'm walking so many times, there's always something to enjoy about. See, every tree is different, and every leaf is different. Every animal, every insect that I see here, they have a story to tell. So many people complain about this, which I totally do not agree. See, I would say if you're not interested, nothing is interesting.
Absolutely.
So if you are interesting, or if you want to find something interesting, there's a million things to smile about in evening. Looking at the coffee plantation, looking at the colors, the variety and the plethora of the flora and fauna, the birds, the chirping. You can hear it even now. Even if when the rain is so intense, the birds are chirping. The crickets, I think they're making this loud noise, and the breeze, the ruffling of the leaves. Everything is so special. That's why I said this is I can call it a virgin location, because I've never seen this kind of a deep sense of attachment to nature. And I applaud the management and the people who are working here, who have preserved it so well. Everyone is very close to nature, and most of them being localized do understand the sensitivity of this project. And I'm sure the kind of investment that has gone into this is huge, and what you are charging us is just peanuts. So that's why I would any day, whatever the charges are, I would just want to blindly close my eyes and come to ABE. You know, this is an asset in itself, and getting a chance to stay here, even if it's for one night, I would say it is priceless. So cost should not be a concern. I think once you come here, you will definitely get your money's worth. Secondly, you should never estimate or calculate, because the kind of purity of the environment that you get, that is completely priceless. Thirdly, the hospitality has always been top notch. The attention to detail, every single material that is used here. See, I'm a doctor, and I pay a lot of importance to precision and attention to detail. So I look at every nook and corner of a place for cleanliness, because it's like going to an operation theatre for me. So I look at the sanity, sanctity, sterility of the places. These are the 3 S's I follow in my life, and IBNI has never failed to impress. I've spent more than 15 nights here, and I've never had a single complaint. Even though if I had complaints, they are far minimal. It's subjective. It's maybe I can say it is individual based, but those cannot be generalized. The complaints or issues can be generalized to anyone. On TripAdvisor also, I did initially see that there were a lot of negative reviews, people commenting and complaining, saying that this place has its own set of rules. You have to follow their rules, or you won't be you won't be spared. Too many negative publicity they're getting. Probably I assume it is from your competitors who are shaken up by the kind of quality that you're giving. I'm sure it is. And also, this is a very new niche trend in India. So people also will take time to get used to something like this. People who have stayed in 5-star hotels and big resorts may have seen better luxuries than this. But to me, this place is very raw. The luxuries that it offers is very raw and very close to the nature, and this luxury is different. This is responsible luxury, and this is also you can say a kind of a social luxury. When you're spending and splurging here, at the same time you're not harming the society, or you're not harming the place, so you're not passing on a beauty to the next generation. So I would say this project is somewhat future-proof, because this is so self-sustaining that for the next 100 years this property can sustain on itself, provided people are working the same way. I think this can go on forever and ever. So that's in short my experience. There are many other things that I can think of, but largely this is what brings me here again and again. And I would also urge you to give me a lifetime membership, so that I can keep coming here every time.
I don't know if you know, but we did initially roll out something called the Earth Loyalty Program, which is a program basically for, like you said here, luxury is different. To us, nature is luxury. And you're right, everybody in the morning takes a pledge. It's called the Eco Pledge to protect nature. And you're also right about the fact that a lot of our people who come here are not very happy with this no plastic rule. And we have Veda waste, which is again, something people find it very hard to understand why we say this, why we say don't waste food. And also the same thing about walking. We say, it's okay, nature meant this place to be that way. So eat like a local, live like a local is something that they very strongly believe in, vocal for local, right? So it's like I'm speaking to a dream person who we had in mind when we built and went on this journey of building a space. And also you're right, we're very conscious. So we actually have very small inventory. It's not like we have multiple rooms, and we have a large space, but we want to retain the sanctity of the place to be what it is and to allow it, and no trees have been cut to build any of the buildings. So we try and do as much as we can to preserve everything that nature meant for it to be just the way it was. Even the coffee, we have a big space, but the coffee is not triggered to grow. It's allowed to grow at nature's pace. So we only use it for in consumption of our guests and ourselves. We don't actually have coffee that we sell outside. We also have the farm to fork which we follow, which is we grow our own vegetables, and you know, the idea is to have conscious travelers like you seek, find and come here repeatedly. So the lifetime membership is a given. We have the Earth Loyalty program, we sign you up. You know, as you were speaking, I was just thinking, we couldn't have imagined a more perfect sort of a mindset to fit into what was created and crafted. Having said that, I know you also work in a very interesting space, which is where we are planning to go next. The world is in a complex time, dealing with a very weird pandemic, so to speak, which is a virus that can be killed by soap and hand washing, has held the entire planet at ransom. And also thank you for your work, which was, you know, for so long, and you've had your first break, which you've chosen to come here. But tell us a little bit about We Transform and what you do at We Transform and why it's important, and why a place which you spoke about, like a space with good energy and nature, is important to do that, to open up the minds, as you said.
So to begin with, yeah, the rules that you have set here may sound harsh to people, especially to the luxury lovers and the connoisseurs. It may sound a bit harsh, but that is the kind of step we need to take to recover and cancel the damage that we have done to the environment for the longest period of time. So that is the kind of damage that humanity has done. The cars we ride, the cigarettes we smoke, the firewood we burn, the plastic we use, the food that we waste. Everything is going to affect our next generation. It's not very far. Our internal records and research says, excuse me, I'll switch off my phone. The internal records that we have been studying and researching says that our next generation will not even get a chance to live the life we are all enjoying. For example, if my father is 65, I don't know whether I'll live up to 65, and I'm pretty sure our next generation is not going to touch 65. By then, this whole place is going to be ravaged. This whole planet Earth is going to be ravaged with very, very critical issues. You know, Corona is just one of the viruses. It's just a very mild virus. Mortality is only 2 to 3%. So Corona is just a trailer. The kind of pollution we have caused to the environment, the kind of deforestation that we have done to the forest. You know, Cape Town doesn't have groundwater. The government is supplying 20 liters of water or by measuring for each and every individual, and they don't. They're giving 20 liters of water per person. They say you drink it or use it for sanitation, or you do it whatever you want with the water. But 20 liters is all you get. You know which is the next city in the pipeline? It is Bangalore.
Bangalore, yes. Yes.
It's number Bangalore. So in the next 5 years, Bangalore is not going to have the groundwater. Already in all the apartments that I was visiting, the people are struggling to get water every day in the morning, and the cost of water itself has become higher than the cost of milk or even food for that matter. So steps have to be taken. Steps have to be large, steps have to be quick, and they have to be imposed. Even though you're paying money as a guest, you're not paying for the environment. See, we are answerable to the environment. It is the environment that is accommodating us here. We are not the owners of environment. We are not the owners of the land. We are just caretakers of the land. So we better take it seriously, and we better take good care of it. That is what I want to tell the people who are complaining a lot about the rules. But I recommend that you keep the rules as rigid as you can. Secondly, food, the kind of food we waste. You know, we did a survey where we found out 40% of the food that is cooked from a kitchen goes into the dustbin. 40% of the food. We did this survey when we were trying to get all this wasted food for an NGO to feed the street dogs. So stray animals, street dogs, cats, cattle, they're all in need, a very bad requirement of food that you are wasting. If you, the discerning customer, are demanding that you have the right to waste the food because you're paying for it. You're paying money for the food, but you're not paying it to the nature. See, the 40% of food, let's say even 10% of the food is getting used to feed the animals or to feed the stray wherever possible. It makes a huge difference to the life of those animals and in turn to the environment, because this environment or this planet doesn't belong to human beings alone. We can only survive if all other lower animals survive. Human being is surviving by biting off other animals and other species. So you better take good care of other species, because one day they are also your food, and one day you will run out of it as well. So you see, already we know a lot of animals have become endangered. A lot of birds and plants and trees have become extinct. So all this is because of us as human beings. So when you say I'm paying for this food and I have the right to throw it onto the dustbin, see, look at it in a conscious perspective, look at it in a moral perspective, look at it from a humanity perspective. Because see, at the end of the day, we are all animals. How did the man arrive at this place? Man came from a monkey. And how did monkeys live? Jumping from one tree to another and eating fresh fruits. You know, you give a monkey a fruit, it will take a bite. If it's not fresh, it will just dispose it. It's actually a nature's way of spreading the seed.
Yeah.
You know, don't say monkey is wasting food. It is nature's way of spreading and propagating a particular species or a particular plant or a seed. And more importantly, the food that we are wasting, even though, as you said, for 10 grams of food, you are charging about 100 rupees, that's pretty sharp. But that is the kind of step we need right now. That is the need of the hour. Every
And
10
also
grams.
the money goes to an orphanage to feed undernourished, malnourished girls in Madikeri girls' home. So what we try and tell our people is this is not money we're taking, and this is not, it's not to do at all with the fact that you get to or not get to waste food, but the fact that we don't limit your portion sizes. What you take onto your plate is only what is charged. So it's an attitude. You remember how our grannies built us up, brought us up? We need to go back to that life to be able to sustain the planet for that much longer, because the 40% of food you're talking about consumes that many gallons of water.
Right.
So it's directly linked to water usage. So a lot of times, while the framework is rigid, it is built that way to not just for you to apply here,
Right.
but to go back home and apply the same methodology. We started something, we've had people like you who appreciate this who've come. We actually had a couple who came and they started a clean plate challenge.
Okay.
For 10 days after they went back, they said we're going to continue, and they continued after that, but they would post clean plate photos on Twitter and Instagram every day, saying, you know, this is our clean plates for the day, and show me yours. So, you know, it's small things like that we want people to come here, imbibe and take back, because to us it's not just about what happens within the four walls of this place, but how have we impacted you to change to go back home, consume less water, use chemical-free, reduce, refuse, reuse, recycle, say no. You know, small things like this which can have a far-reaching, long-lasting impact for the planet and for us to be more sustainable. If you look at it, Bangalore has now gone back to its old days of the monsoons. Otherwise, monsoons in Bangalore in the last few years have been hot. For the first time, there is a little bit of chilly air in Bangalore, and that is happening because we have slowed down.
Right.
So look at the impact of slowing down as a planet. If we can just collectively do that, what kind of a long-lasting impact it will have on everybody. You know? So connect that and tell us a little bit about WeTransform so our viewers can know about what WeTransform does as well.
Okay, so WeTransform is basically a workshop, a lifestyle changing or a transformation workshop started by my friend Navita Varsha. She is a 26-year-old engineer, a cancer survivor. She was diagnosed with a breast cancer about a year and a half back, and she had come to me for the treatment of the same. and I had referred her to some of my friends in Bangalore to the premier institutes of cancer, and they asked her to undergo a surgery, a quick chemotherapy, because the kind of tumor she had was a very fast growing one. The kind of treatments available for them would work only if we act upon it very quickly. Otherwise, the mortality or morbidity of the patient would be very high. So, but she refused and took it as a challenge to heal it on her own. And she devised her own methods by going back to nature, doing yoga, secluding herself from people who are empathizing or sympathizing with her, saying that, oh, baby girl, you have a cancer. Oh, it's so unfortunate that you have cancer. Who constantly keep reminding her that she has cancer.
Yeah.
And it was affecting her thinking pattern and perspective. So she disappeared one day all of a sudden, and about 3 or 6 months back, she came back saying that the tumor is gone. And when we inquired her and we went into the depth of what all things she did, she transformed herself by going close to nature, being responsible and talking and having a conversation with nature, and finding out solutions for the cancer within herself. You know, the body is an impeccable mechanism where it heals itself. Body has a capacity to heal itself of all the diseases and also to fight any kind of infection. One of the reasons I've come here today is to build my immunity so that I can go back and be a Corona warrior again and help people. So coming back to nature always boosts your immunity, loads you up with the kind of armory that you want, and refreshes you, recharges you, hydrates you, and every time I go back from here, I feel like a recharged child. This is the same effect we want to give to all our customers or clientele of the Transform. So now Navita has started doing this on a larger scale. But I have been doing this a similar project from the last 5 to 6 years, which is purely based on nutrition and exercise. Navita's idea is to get into yoga, meditation, dhyana, get into the deeper parts of the mind, understand your body, understand your cells, send a message to each and every nerve of your body and each and every cell of your body, and heal the cancer. Her approach is very, very primal, and my approach is quite external, because most of the cancers are happening because of man-made or self-made habits. If you look at cancer, it is nothing but a fast-growing cell or a cell that has gone out of control.
Yeah,
Mutating. So if you look at some of the spiritual leaders who explain or try to make a point on cancer, they say it's one of your family members that has gone out of control, that is not listening to the head of the family. So one of the points that we employ in WeTransform is fasting, going organic, be in a calm and quiet place, let the body speak, and listen to the body, the message that it is sending. If I have to quickly tell you from a nutrition point of view or from a doctor's point of view, for example, we all consume milk, coffee, tea, paneer, cheese is all our daily
dairy
consumption. So if I have to ask you three difficult questions, it would be, where is milk coming from? For whom it is secreted? And who is consuming it? And who gives us the authority to consume it? Milk is not coming from cow, it's coming from a mother.
For its child.
For its child. When it's coming from a mother for its child, just imagine how precious it is. And what are we doing with it? We are snatching a milk from a mother, depriving its baby of the nutrition and the resources, and making a business and economy out of it. And we are further injecting that cow with steroids, injections, inseminating it, and we are killing the species which give lesser milk, and we are populating more species of cows which are giving more milk. One familiar
Jersey.
Jersey is the breed that everybody wants to grow because it gives tons and tons of milk, or gallons of milk. So who gives us the authority? You may be paying 10 rupees or you may be paying 1,000 rupees for a bottle of milk. So it's not about the money, like how earlier we were talking.
Data waste is not
Yes.
about the money.
Yes.
Similarly, yeah.
Yes, so it's not about the money, it's about the concept. Who gives us the authority to draw the milk from a mother, deprive a child of its nutrition from its mother, and consume it on a daily basis while we have other options? That's one example if I have to tell you.
And packaged food, which is processed, which is not fresh,
Not fresh.
which is if something can stay on the shelf for 2 months and you can still consume it at the end of 2 months, then imagine the kind of treatments that it has gone through.
Absolutely.
So, so it's amazing. Congratulations on Be Transformed, because we believe in the same ideology of healing and looking inwards and connecting with nature, and also living the life as you were meant. Eat local, eat produce which the earth has given you.
Right.
You know, we have a farm, we have our own animals here, and we completely believe in the fact that nature makes enough for everybody. It's like the Mahatma Gandhi quote:
Yes.
there is enough for every man's need, but not enough for one man's greed. It is like that, and I think it was amazing having this conversation with you. Thank you so much for constantly coming back to us, and also for giving us this opportunity today of talking to you. It is meant for people like you and more people who want to learn more, experience this. So thank you so much, Dr. Raghavendra, and all the best with your work as a Corona warrior, and continue to inspire us with Be Transform and everything else you do.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure, and I do take the pledge to come back again and again, save water, avoid wasting food, and minimalize the use of plastic, and give back to the nature and the next generation as much as we can.
Thank you so much.
Thank
We're
you.
honored by having you here. Thank you.
Thank you.